Viewer discretion is advised. This is The Tea is Toxic.
Nikki, you're back.
Hello.
How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm just here, enjoying life. I lied. Struggling.
Nikki, you like being toxic. You like being on the dark side.
It's my favorite place to be.
You like being dun 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 dun.
I definitely can resonate with Harley Quinn because she just loves to fuck shit up and smile about it.
Listen, and that's what I'm here for on The Tea is Toxic. Matter of fact, tonight is gonna be a little different.
Okay, I'm excited.
Because tonight I'm gonna pull one of my stories out the archives also. So I'm gonna tell a story that a lot of people don't know. I'm pulling it out the archives. It's fitting to get toxic.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I've had a lot of different experiences in life with a lot of different people. And this one, I want to say this one takes the cake. Mind you, let me say this. When I got divorced, I had a lot of interesting run-ins. Now, every run-in with a guy was not a meet-up or hook-up, whatever. But I got married so young that I didn't date because I was married at 22. And I was divorced by 30.
Wait, you got married at 22?
I got married at 22.
Okay.
Yeah, I was married for 8 years. And we dated for 4 months. So to me, making it to 8 years in and of itself was an accomplishment.
I was just about to say, only dating for 4 months and then getting married?
Yes, that is correct. We were very young, but we were separated off and on for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And when I finally officially really was getting divorced, where the papers are in, the date is set, that level, I started dating, dating, because I'd never dated before. And it was a very interesting experience. It was a lot to get to the date for me because you got to be careful of energies. And here and there, I did run into a couple of crazies. I've had some guys do some weird shit. And I think I might make that an episode one day about the wild things. So let me give y'all an example real quick.
The wild things that get done.
Girl, so this was toxic in my opinion. You can let me know what you think, but this is not the main story. So this man and I had been talking. We just started talking, okay? He worked in security. It was a weird kind of situation because he had a son, and allegedly his son and his son's mother and him got married, and then she died of cancer or something like that. He raised a son on his own. For me, it gave life insurance, but he did something positive with it because he's a single dad. He started his own security business, brought in good money, that kind of thing. Boom.
Generational wealth, I hear you.
Right. So boom, here's what happens. So we're on the phone one day. This is maybe our second or third phone conversation. And it's just a regular Saturday afternoon. I'm cleaning my house. He's on the phone with me. There's not really much conversation being had. When you're just enjoying somebody's company on the phone because he's driving, I'm in the house, that kind of thing. And I'm like, la, 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 I'm just singing whatever. Long story short, why did this Negro have me on speakerphone in his car with his mama in the car?
Wait, the whole time you're having conversation with him, his mom's listening to the conversation?
Yes. And she's like, you have such a beautiful voice. And I'm like, oh, thank you. That was the last time he heard from me.
Well, yeah. Wait, why is your mama listening to the conversation, sir?
Why are you not announcing your mother? Because for one, you don't even know me, and you don't even know what level of the conversation I'm about to get into. If I might be one of them chicks that's going to say anything wild.
Listen, y'all, I'm not the type. Don't put me on speaker. Do
Never
not
put me
Nikki
on
June
speaker.
on speaker.
If y'all don't know
You'll
nothing else
figure it
about
out
AJ, do
today.
not put her on speaker. Because anything can happen.
It's the moment you put me on speaker and some shit gets said, that's on you.
The only time I'm cautious about my phone activity is after certain hours, because if my friends have kids, I'll start by saying, do you have me on speakerphone?
Exactly.
That's the only time. But long story short, this brother had to go. However, there was one man that started it all with the dating process. And if it were not for this man, I would have gone into this situation way more naive than I actually was. And experiences in my life hardened me. And experiences in my life, seeing my parents' relationship, the way that, my father speaks, he's a very verbally abusive man. Those things harden you. But when it comes to in the streets, you can learn some things, and we about to talk about it. So y'all, while you're listening to this, you could be like, you
In
stupid
these
bitch,
streets.
da 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 da, you dumb, da da da. That's fine. You guys can say that. I don't get offended by that, because the reality was, I didn't know just how wild it is out here till I got out here.
I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm about to be Jesus. Don't throw rocks over here, nigga. Because let's be real, every bitch has been through that naive, I've done some dumb shit for some dumb nigga moment. So if you've never been through that, then you can say something. Until then, just enjoy the episode.
Enjoy this, y'all. So let's go back, way back
Let's
into
go.
time.
Yeah.
Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby. So
Hey.
it's 2016 going into 2017. Now, I was officially divorced in September of 2017, you guys. But in 2016, 2015 was the first time that I had walked away from my marriage, and I, moved out, moved into my own place with the kids.
Okay.
All of that. Okay.
Independent.
But then I took him back. So at the end of 2015, we're back together. I move out my place, blah, blah, blah. By fall of 2016, we get into it again, and I move out. And that's a whole nother crazy story for another day.
Part two, the toxic.
That story is so crazy. I'd invite him on for that. That was a wild one. That caused me to leave out. So at that time, I got my place. I gave him one more chance, but I never got rid of my place, because at that moment, that was my insurance. Even though we were living together, I paid for my own apartment and my own utilities to stay on in that home if I ever needed to go, me and the kids fitting the head out. And I paid that for, I would say, a few months, at least 4 or 5 months, maybe even 6, before I had to finally move back in completely and file divorce. So,
Okay.
2016 fall, I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to start meeting some people. Let's see what's out here. Let's get crazy. Let's get a little weird with it, right? I download a very popular dating app. They're not getting my sponsorship. And so I started exploring, seeing what's out here, blah, blah, blah. I meet this guy. We talk on the phone. We click. We both like music. We're both hard workers. We both have kids. And
everything seems like it's aligning. I like this. Cool. I hate when it starts to go good and then shit's about to go down.
Well, here's the thing. So his name was Onaje, and he seemed like a really dope guy. We were getting along really well. It was the fall of 2016. And finally I was like, you know what? I kind of want to go be a hoe. Like, I kind of want to go do me real quick. So
I don't want to be in this relationship. I want to be a hoe.
Listen, yeah, it's time. It's time. I was pretty much clocked out of the relationship by then. He had done some really grimy shit. And so it was time for me to go off and do my own thing. So it was like,
That
I'm giving you a chance. Like there's an olive branch, but this is not a full-fledged relationship right now. Right now, we're kind of just co-parenting and trying to see if we like each other.
I'm just being friendly.
Yeah, you know. So it's like I have love for you, but I'm still trying to figure out if it's an in-love situation. So
Exactly.
one day I decide we're gonna link up, right? So what happens is we go out to eat to my, like, I love this Indian restaurant out there in Jersey, not sponsoring them, but they are in New Brunswick, and I'll just give you that. And so we get there, and I'm like, yeah, this is my favorite place. We meet up. Ladies, never get in a man's car that you don't know. Meet him there. So we get there, and I go ahead, I get my food, I sit down. It was like a little Indian buffet. And I'm like, oh, you're not
Okay.
eating? And he's like, nah, I'm not really hungry, but enjoy yourself. Let's just hang out, let's talk, whatever. So I'm like, okay. Now,
That's awkward.
ladies, you guys can count the red flags if you want to. But like I said, marry
Am I
your
supposed to be doing that?
Hmm?
Am I supposed to be doing that? Counting the red flags right now? Because
If you
I
want
do,
to.
like I see the flags, yeah. But as a young person who's never been in that situation, like we don't really think of those things.
Well, you got to remember, by this point, I was 29.
Yeah, but you went from what? Being in a marriage of 8
Mhm.
years.
Marriage and church, and church and marriage.
That's it. You know what I
That's it.
mean? And you haven't come outside of that to fortunately have to go through all those dickheads to get the marriage. You were lucky enough to
Exactly.
get
And I
that
mean, in your
first.
teens, you're having fun. You might hook up with a guy or two, but it's nothing wild. Like, you know what I mean? The body count ain't
Exactly.
crazy at that age. This ain't Euphoria. So, and technically speaking, even in Euphoria, these kids' body counts aren't high. They're sleeping with like one person.
Right?
So the only person that was sleeping with everybody was Cassie. So I digress. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, this guy's really cool, cute dude, a little shorter, brown skinned guy. He's all right. He already sang for me, and I liked that. That was dope. So he's like, oh, you wanna go to like the motel down the street? And I was like, yeah, this is getting a little filthy. Like, I like this shit. So first off, like I said, ladies, one, don't hop in no guy's car. Drive your own car. I don't care if you got to get in an Uber. Get in an Uber before you get in a nigga car. Let's be smart here. So I follow him, and so we get to the spot right down the street, about a mile or so away, and I take a picture of his license plate, and I send it to my best friend at the time, so she has that shit on lock.
See, you weren't stupid. Look, you got it.
No, I was naive though. I was naive.
Okay, that was what we were saying.
I sent that to her, and I'm like, boom, here you go, bitch. An old friend of hers, shout out to her when we were tight. And she's like, bet, got it, locked in, enjoy yourself, be safe. We get into the hotel room, and we're chilling. Nothing's popping off like that yet. And right before I get ready to kiss him, he's like, I need to tell you something. And I'm like, what do you need to tell me? And he's like, I haven't been entirely honest. I need to tell you this before we get going, that I'm an ordained minister.
You're an ordained minister?
An ordained minister.
This
so
is
why
are you here, sir?
So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, you're an ordained minister, but you here in this room, so I'm not really losing any sleep on it, whatever. We get it slapping, we fuck, whatever. I take a bunch of tasty cakes and treats home from the grocery store that I pick up at the bakery because I'm in a better mood and I want to kill my ex-husband less now.
She said, I digress. I went to go pick up some snacks after.
Yeah, those really nice bakery goods that you never actually get that are in the window? I got them. That was my mood after getting some dick. Window bakery goods mood.
So the minister now, because I'm still stuck on the fact that you're a whole minister, and you're in here doing adulterous shit.
Well, adultery is only if you're married, though. So that's the reason why I wasn't tripping.
But hold on, as a minister,
that's just fornication.
As a man of okay, there we go.
Yeah, that's just fornication. And not for nothing, I'm directing a praise team every week. You feel me? So I'm not really tripping too much on it.
I'd be looking at you all types of sideways while you up there, minister, sir.
Right. So I'm like, okay, whatever, no big deal.
Mm-mm.
So we start talking, like, that was the start of us really starting to build like a really solid relationship. He knew that I was married. He knew what it was that I was going through at the time. He
Wait a
knew that,
goddamn minute. So he even knew you were still. I know she's not happy, but you're a fucking minister.
well, here's the catch. He knew I was married, but he knew that we were like in the process of getting ready to go into a separation and a divorce.
Yeah, but girl, you're in
Right.
your own stage. You're in your.
But I'm still married. If you ain't single, you're married. If you're not married, you're single, right? So, nonetheless, that's the case. He was like very, he was very wise in his own way. And so, I'm going through all these different feelings, all these different emotions. Like I said, I come from a traumatic household. Shout out
Was
to
he
my
older
parents.
than you?
He was older than me, not by crazy amounts.
Okay.
Maybe 3 or 4 years older than me. I don't remember.
Okay.
But, shout out to my parents. I 100% believe they did the best they could. What they gave was everything they had, and they will always have my respect for it. But what we needed was nothing they could give, and that was the struggle. So a lot of times you get people who are like, I put a roof over your head. Anything you ask me to buy, I buy, da da da. And it's like, I never asked you for money. I never asked you for monetary. I asked you for a relationship. And unfortunately, that's the kids they got. They didn't get the ones that wanted the things. They got the ones that wanted the relationship, and they could not give that because they were so enthralled and encompassed into each other that it was like, were we really there, or were we kind of just like a prop in your love story? So I've always had
Ooh,
a
that was a good one. Were we
thank you.
a prop in your love story?
So I've always had a hot and cold relationship with them. And during that time I ran into hot and colds again. And he was there for me through that. No, your father's a pastor. Don't behave like that, apologize, show him a little bit more respect. He's doing da 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 da. So that kind of thing. So we were really building something I would call strong enough for something to be so new. He had spoken to some of my girlfriends at the time.
Oh, we
I'm not
building a
gonna-
relationship here, guys.
We're building a relationship here. And then the time came where it was time for my ex-husband and I, who we were married at the time, to separate. An incident had happened, and for him being the father of my children, I'm never gonna put him on blast on what we went through, but the facts are the facts that a situation had happened, and I was like, okay, this is where we're at the end. We've met the end of our road. I need you to head out, and I'm filing for divorce, which is exactly what happened. So cool. He was there through that as well. But whenever I called him, he was there for me. Whenever I needed him, he showed up. But something in my spirit just was never sitting right with me. It was like I just couldn't figure out what it was. And I finally gotten the man I was married to, out my life. We were completely separated. I was getting my money together to go ahead and file that divorce. I had already grabbed off the paperwork, all of that. It was happening. And he was there through the whole process. And then around, I want to say it was April or May, my best friend was getting married, was graduating. Shout out to her. She got her master's during that time. And I'm like, the night before, I just couldn't shake this feeling because out of nowhere, he kind of just snapped. And I was like, this behavior was so sporadic that it's making me question who you are. So I'm like, it's time for me to do a deep dive and figure out if I'm really talking to a solid ass dude. This is after a month, you guys. So, okay, boom. Now, mind you, I said I've spent plenty of time with him. He's met some of my friends, the whole nine.
Okay, yeah. And now?
So now I'm like, let me put his name in. His name is Onaje. Let me put his name in. I put his name in. Nothing's coming up. I apologize, you guys. Earlier in the relationship, he said he did not have social media.
Okay.
Okay. So I say this to say, never listen to a man when he says he doesn't have social media. He's a liar. So I'm like, yo, I gotta find this dude. There's no way he's not on social media and he does all of these things. I'm looking, I'm searching, nothing's coming up. Finally, I download, and ladies, here's a little secret. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, White Pages is your savior.
White Pages? Like,
White Pages is your savior. You pay that little extra fee, and they're gonna tell you a motherfucker's tea. They're gonna tell you who their mama, their grandmama, everybody else is. I had a bitch trying to taunt me. Completely off subject. Let's talk AJ's toxic. Let's not even talk the tea. Let's talk AJ's toxic. I had a female who would not leave my man alone and was trying to play in my face about my man. Oh, girl, da da da, because you fat, because you this, da da da. And I said, send me this bitch phone number. And I tapped that phone number into there. And I sent her address. And I said, I'll see you in 5 hours, bitch.
No.
And it went radio silent. And she never spoke to him again. So needless to say, White Pages can be that person for you. Okay, cool. So this is starting to get long. I don't even know if we can get into the second one. We already have.
Listen, because girl, I wrote that shit down. White Pages.
White Pages. So I had a family member looking for their grandchildren. I put up White Pages on the baby mom and gave them all the addresses she was just recently at. White Pages will take you there. But long story short, I go into White Pages. I'm like, let me tap this name in. Name not coming up. Let me put this phone number in. Family members coming up, different random names. Billie Jean, LMA, Otis Jones, just random names. I'm like, nah, this can't be, none of these are him. I'm still looking. After about 20 minutes of looking and him not replying back to me with any apologies, I finally go, what if his name's not Onaje?
Bitch.
I'm like,
is he a serial killer? Not another. No. Oh, is this like?
Girl, that's a story for another day. Should I talk about my serial killer? Anyway.
No. So listen, if that's gonna be another episode, I'm gonna make sure to video myself.
Child, I had one. Maybe this is gonna be a longer one. Okay. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. Okay, so because this is the dating according to AJ situation here now, right? So like, okay, cool. So I go, let me put into Facebook Otis. And I put the full name in.
See you, Otis.
Right. I put the full name in and he came up.
No, Otis.
Now, mind you,
really wanting to be known.
First reason I'm mad. My body is not a cemetery, y'all. I'm not just out here collecting bodies. But to know that I got a body named Otis infuriates me. I can never get that one off. Okay?
Never. I have a few bodies I wish I can shake off too. Don't worry, girl.
Girl, not nobody named Otis.
Facts.
Okay? That's a slave name. I'm sorry.
Not the slave Otis.
It's a slave name.
Listen, slave Otis needed some loving too, okay?
Well, I was having loving with an Onaje. I don't know about no damn Otis, but here's where it gets crazier, y'all. It gets wilder because I go, okay, let me go through this page. I go through the page and I'm like, blink, blink. Who's this woman with these kids?
So,
and
Otis.
Why is there 4 of these little motherfuckers?
Otis, sir. Otis.
And why y'all got a whole house? And why you whole married? But you knew I was married and you knew I was getting a divorce. And I had that transparency with you, but you didn't give that same respect back. First and last time I ever did this.
But I feel like his name, Otis, was the red flag. That's why he didn't give it to you.
Right. So I'll never do this again. I reached out to the wife. Now, I reached out to the wife because we'd been dealing with each other long enough that every encounter was not a safe encounter. So I reached out to her. Now, mind you, when I was mad at him, And and then he found out that I found him. He didn't know that I had reached out to the wife yet, or that I planned to reach out to the wife. This was in the evening. And he's like, "Are you pregnant? Are you pregnant?" And I'm like,
I
"Why
have
are
to be
you asking me if
pregnant?
I'm pregnant? Like, I'm not pregnant. I just realized you're off and you're full of shit. That doesn't mean I'm pregnant." So I finally get the wife on the phone. So let me tell y'all a quick little synopsis of how this went down. This was a really fucked up
Please.
situation. So I get the wife on the phone, and as soon as she finds out about me, her first question is, "Are you pregnant?"
Because he's done this before. And how, yo, don't tell me none of those kids are hers.
So I'm like,
That's
no,
toxic.
no, the kids are hers.
Okay, yo, because I would have, bitch. Every hoe he had a baby and she just snooped them up.
Right. So the kids are hers. But I'm like, no, I'm not pregnant. Like, I'm just giving you a heads up. I didn't know you were there. I apologize in advance. I'm recently separated, blah, blah, blah. And, when I was talking to him, he was like, I'll tell you what the story with her first, and then we'll get back to him. So, we're having this conversation, and I'm like, I just don't understand. Every time I called him, he was available. It didn't matter if it was 2 in the afternoon or 2 in the morning. Why? And she's like, well, he is head over social services in the area. So he's on call 24/7. So when he gets a call, he can literally just get up and go.
So that's how he was able to.
So that's how he was able to play that off, because I guess he was giving out his manager number and not his personal number. Right? Or either way, or he was pretending like it was a call, an on call with his regular number, and that was what was on file. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I just want you to be strong. I understand that you might want to leave him. She's like, I can't leave him. I'm like, why can't you leave him? She says, because I work at a daycare. He's the breadwinner, and our youngest child is diabetic, and the insurance is under his name. So I don't want to take the chance of leaving him and having to figure all of this out. I understand the feeling of feeling stuck, especially when you're dealing with abuse of any type. And in my opinion, that was financial abuse, that was emotional abuse, that was mental abuse. And I wouldn't be surprised if he had possibly put his hands on her at one point or another. So I was like, damn. Now, because I'm going to have to start summing this up some. It's really going there.
Okay.
And if y'all don't like my story, just tell me, because I won't do no more stories. But what happened was, then he gets on the phone with me, and I'm like, bro, I really don't have anything to say to you, because you could have been honest with me. He's like, I didn't want to be honest with you, because if I was, I knew you would have never gave me a chance. And I was like, yeah, you're damn right.
No, damn
because
Skippy.
While I'm mildly a hypocrite, at the end of the day, I know the direction that I'm going in my life, and it's to not be in this relationship with this man. You, on the other hand, have no intention of ever not being in your marriage. So yeah,
go home,
it would have never been a chance.
Roger. Go home.
Yes, because when I met you, I was separated again. So it's not like I met you while trying to work on my relationship. I had left it again. And then this was the second to last time I called it. So, okay, cool. Now, fast forward. Let me start with, and this, I'm going to be doing an episode called What About Your Friends for you shitty hoes out here. I had a friend, and I'm going to name that savage bitch Charlene. Charlene was a pick-me. Okay, she was in everything but a coffin. And literally this bitch, I'll never forget, because it wasn't her first, it was not, she's done it again, but this was the first incident, possibly the second, but I think it was the first incident. This bitch tells me a couple months later, oh, guess who I saw online who reached out to me? And I was like, who? She was like, oh, Najee. And I was like, okay, I really don't care. Like, she's like, yeah, he didn't even remember me, even though we had talked when you was here the last time. And I was like, you don't even know who I am, do you? No, she said, so I played along, and I went and I started a conversation with him, and we linked up for a date. And I said, okay. And she was like, yeah. I was like, well, why would you do that? She was like, because I wanted to hear his side of the story too.
No, you wanted to be a pick-me bitch.
You
So
wanted to
you
be a
got
pick me
picked.
bitch.
You got picked. Go find Roger and enjoy yourself over there with his chaotic bullshit.
Yes. So shout out to Charlene. Had to leave that hoe in Jersey when I left. She tried to reach out to me about a year ago. I left that hoe on red. There's nothing else to discuss. Don't ask me how ATL is. I'm good. You stay over there with your pick me ass. And I'm sure she'll come up in another story at some point in time.
That's
So
funny.
yeah.
I've been around to pick. I've been around to pick me before.
Girl.
And you know what, ladies, if you, and this is my like naive friendship moment, bitches just be as bad as these motherfuckers out here. Okay,
Girl.
I had a friend. I thought she was a genuine friend. I think I've spoken where, yeah, this bitch gonna come up a couple of times with these, because she was the toxic one in my life. We would travel a lot together, and one time I had traveled. I was in a relationship, and I went to Atlanta. Shout out, ATL is the place. But I went in a relationship, so I'm being a good girl. No, I have a boyfriend. No, thank you. I know I look cute, but I have a man. This fine ass man decides he wants to come and talk to me. She already acknowledges what he's wearing. I am not a label hoe. I don't know labels. I don't care for labels.
Yes.
Right. I'm more of a Black Lives Matter. I don't wear labels specifically because 90% of these labels are racist, but we're not going to get there. I digress.
Different toxic story.
Yeah. And she, on the other hand, is one of those dumb bitches that just loves, the flash, the bling, all that stuff.
The loud ass.
Yeah. He just so happens not to be a flashy nigga, but he has the money to flash. And there's a difference between a flashy nigga and a man who has the money to flash. Okay? So he now tries to talk to me. I told him, I have a boyfriend, but you cute. My girl's single. You guys try to mingle it out. Long story short, it didn't really work out because he was just like, nah, you're the one I wanted. I end up going back to where I came. We broke up. Now I'm single and I'm trying to get back to Atlanta for you, sir, because you were fine as hell. Not to know that this bitch is trying to have a whole hour's conversation with you behind my back.
The pick-me's.
Yeah, she promised this nigga a threesome with me. Not asking me, not talking to me about it.
See what I mean? And let me say this too.
Offered up
vagina. You're always a bridesmaid and never a bride.
Say it loud. She didn't hear you from the back.
Always a bridesmaid and never a bride. You pick me's. Every time. Every time. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride on a pick me.
Yeah.
But fast forward some more, just a few more months. I'm hanging out with my brother. We didn't get a chance to spend time together in a minute. So we're catching up on like a good couple of years worth of shit. And I'm telling him about this newest nigga. Like, yo, let me tell you about this crazy shit that I just went through, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm telling him, I'm like, you know what? Matter of fact, let me pull it up for you. It was around 4th of July weekend, I believe it was, because I didn't have the kids. We were hanging out and Father's Day had just gone by. So I was like, let me pull it up for you. So I go back to the page, open up the page. Oh, that's why they kept asking me if I was pregnant. This woman has 4 children with this man. This man had a picture with 12 children.
I knew it. See, he's been popping babies on her. Bitch.
12 kids, and the youngest one wasn't her baby.
The youngest was theirs?
The youngest one was not.
Was not.
Their youngest one was 4. He was holding the baby in his lap. What's so crazy is I cussed him out before I finally never talked to him again. And it didn't have shit to do with me. I cussed him out because I had been through my own personal shit in my relationship that was at an end. And when he got caught, he had the audacity to say that he was doing this shit because his wife was cheating on him also, and he didn't know if the baby was his, and da 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 da. And I
Uh,
said, I done spoke to this woman, and I done met you, and for you to part your dirty fucking lips and have the
and have the
audacity
audacity.
to put that shit on your wife instead of hold your L in hopes that I'll still exist in your life is insane. I never spoke to him again. I never saw him again. And for a few years, there was an incident where I thought I saw him, and I was ready to get it rocking. When I saw what I thought was him, I didn't think, oh my gosh, my heart's jumping a beat. I thought, let me find a wrench from my car so I could bust him in his fucking head.
Yeah, like,
That
how
was
do I
the
kill
first thing that
you?
popped in
How
my
do I
head.
strangle the shit out of you?
Yeah, absolutely. And let me say this, and you guys tell me what you think. And I know this might sound very extreme, but I feel like, in a sense, I was assaulted. And let me tell you why. I feel like my body was violated. Let me not say assaulted, that's a strong word, violated. Because who I gave permission to access my body is not who I found out that was.
I
So
know exactly
essentially,
what you mean.
exactly. So essentially, I was sleeping with a completely different person who did
Like you
not
don't
have
know.
permission to access me.
Exactly. You felt like you just literally slept with the stranger. This, and again, this is definitely probably going to sound extreme to others, but it feels like the same thing as of being too drunk and waking up with
Absolutely.
somebody and being like, "Yo,
Like, what the hell happened?
happened."
And why does my butthole
Yeah,
hurt?
exactly. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, because I don't know you. I don't know who you are. And
Exactly.
and I gave you when you there's a difference between when you're out there just trying to get a nut and when you're out there like I'm trying to find someone that I can actually have fun with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so if I'm opening up to you, like it's not like I'm literally just fucking you and moving on. Like, okay, oh, my Uber's outside. No, we're having full on conversations. You understand the
Full on
dynamic.
relationship.
Yeah. Like who
And I'm telling you, it's so bad because, like I said, I had access to him at any point in time. I didn't have him in my home because my children are in my home. So no, I didn't let him know where I lived. But anytime I quote needed him, he existed in that time and space. And it's even crazier to think you took away from your children to pour into me and whoever else you were playing with. And for why? And I really, to this day, worry about his wife because his sexual endeavors are very dangerous when you're at home. And I really hope and pray she's not and has not
safe?
been sleeping with this man without protection, because that's how you run into diseases and your pH balance will be thrown off and all of these other things that can happen to you, which leads me into the next part of this episode. And I'm
Mm-mm.
debating, should I do a part two? And if you have the time, Nikki, I'll do it. And then I'll just post it the week after.
Um, I don't have the time today, but
Okay, well, then it's going to have to wait.
yeah.
It's going to have to wait because it's interesting. I didn't think that this was going to last this long. But what I will say, I'll close out with this on the I Thought You Loved Me. I talked to another guy, and, we went on a date while I was in the dating game. And this guy, he seemed cool as hell. And then out of nowhere one day, he just switched up and he got really weird. And I was like, what the hell? So once again, ladies and gentlemen, who came through? White Pages.
I love the white pages.
So I look him up on White Pages and I realize, well, this isn't this guy. Literally, here's all his extra details, right? Like, okay, you're giving me your first name, but here's your full name type shit. So I enter in his full name and I find out that this man had gone to jail for baby shaking syndrome.
He be out here just shaking the children?
Just shaking babies, bitch. I don't
Like,
even know
do
if he
you
was
know how
under.
hard you have to shake a baby to do that?
He went to, I'll put it like this. I think the baby died. So he did time. He wasn't in jail. He was in big boy jail. He was in prison. So I was like, "Oop, that'll do it. That'll do it." So I shout out to Onaje Otis, who taught me not to be a dumb bitch in these streets. There were so many red flags. And once I sat down and I looked and glossed over it all, I realized all of the things that I should have seen from the door. And I will tell y'all the first two things. The first one was talking on the phone with him, and he said he didn't have any social media. I fell for that shit because I had just gotten an Instagram account and it had been out forever. I was too busy being a wife and a mother to be on social media like that. Two was when we went out to eat the first time. Because, and mind you, it was the last time too, but it was because I realize now your wife's not going to question you if there's only one meal on the card. Let that sit in, ladies. There are so many times that you need to pay attention when you're dating out here. And this is why a lot of men I've talked to from the dating sites and things like that. And let me say, I prefer dating sites because there's nothing scarier than being at your local Walmart, giving a nigga your number. And then if y'all have a falling out, guess where he can catch your dumb ass?
At the same
Walmart
motherfucking
every
Walmart.
Wednesday with
He
your
knows.
kids.
He knows.
Use your damn brain, bitch. Don't be stupid. So literally, a lot of times I talk to these guys, but we never even get to a date.
Yeah.
And I've had so many, and I've loved the experiences. A lot of men too on dating sites, they end up just being like, they need a therapist. I had one man, I ended up helping him with his marriage because I was like, sweetie,
See?
I know you're married, so what's going on? Why are you on here?
But to
Let
be
me
honest,
help you get your
I
wife
agree
back.
with you. I definitely agree with you. I would rather start dating or talking to men from sites because I find that they're more honest about what they want and what they can offer you.
They ain't got shit to lose. That's why.
Swipe next and go on. Like, I'm never gonna see this girl.
Mm-hmm. They ain't got
You
shit to
know?
lose.
So they're gonna be real honest with you about what's good. And I think
They're not gonna start lying till they know they got you.
I had said this on another podcast, but you guys probably won't really hear that podcast, so I'll say it over here. I had gone on Tinder, and there was a moment where when I decide, okay, this is the guy I'm gonna meet up with. The reason why is it was based on the way that he came at me. He was very like straightforward. This is what I want. I have my chart. Do you have yours? I've never had an STD. Have you ever had one?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, yeah, that makes you feel safer, more comfortable to know that, than me being out there, being at a club, getting a little drunk, taking this nigga home and being like, yo, I don't even know what this guy has.
Mm-hmm. And let me say this too, because women can be just as problematic as men. And this is for anyone listening, because I don't think that just women are listening. But if you are too afraid to get tested, you are not mature enough for a relationship.
You're not mature enough to
You're
be
not.
having sex.
Literally, not even that. When I started dating in 2018, before I started dating, I went and got myself tested first because I realized if I find by chance, by happenstance, run into my next forever person, I'm not bringing that kind of chaos and drama to their life based off of my past. Let me make sure I'm clean so I'm not bringing anything with me. And a lot of people, listen, I'd rather know than not know. Because how can you say you love somebody but you lying to yourself and you're lying to them? That's not love. That's manipulation.
Exactly.
So y'all, that's the tea is toxic. I did not expect my story to be as long as it was. If y'all didn't like it, I'm so sorry. Also, you can kiss my ass. But
I love that one. Also, you can kiss my ass.
yeah, also fuck off. But literally, that was the beginning to my 30s. And my 30s up until my second marriage was a hell of a ride. I don't regret it. I wouldn't take it back after the divorce. I was out here. I was having a blast. I was dating. I was going places. I was in the streets. And I don't know prostitution, but just having so much fun, going to so many different events, concerts. And
I've had some great times. I've had my hoe moments. I'm about to get into my elderly hoe phase. That's what I'm
listen,
calling it.
yes, and I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I had my whole phase right after my divorce, and then I settled back down again. I definitely had my whole phase, but being at the age I am now, I wouldn't move the way I moved then.
No,
Because if
you're
you're
gonna be
able to get in
smarter.
and get out unhinged, don't take no chances.
Yeah, I agree. And as we were talking about this, it made me really think about all the fucked up shit I did when I was younger. And I can personally admit that not only was I naive, I was a dumb bitch too. So, oh, you
Yeah.
want me to get in your car? Oh my god, okay. I'll tell
Yeah, no, I was never getting in a car. When I was in middle school, if I put a drink down, I wouldn't pick it back up at a dance. And that was middle school. In the
Oh
school.
yeah, those things like
So
putting a drink down, whatever. Yeah, but like when I got into like my young 20s, I was that stupid girl. Like, yeah, of course.
you want me to tell you why you're ridiculous? Because bitch, we grew up during the age of Degrassi.
Facts.
We saw everything there was to see. You're bugging. We grew up during Degrassi. And lastly, for anybody that made it this far, let me also say this real quick. For you pick me bitches,
For you,
you'll never get a husband. And let me tell you why. And if you do have a husband, it won't be a successful one. Because a woman that cannot establish healthy boundaries and relationships with other women cannot be a solid wife. And if you're wondering why a lot of times these men don't pick you, it's because they see you. They see the real you. But men have been taught to spare our motherfucking feelings. So you bitches keep thinking, oh, he don't like me because he gay. No, bitch, he don't like you because your pH is off. You yell at your kids all the fucking time, and you don't have a friend worth a third and say you don't like the drama. But you are the drama. That's why you can't keep a friend, so you can't keep a man. He can see all of that. But he's nice
Oh.
enough to let you think the issue is his dick size, and it's not. Because you're going to jump on that shrimp if it means he can give you a ring because you're desperate, because you're a pick-me, because you're thirsty and you're needy, and you need to be loved because you don't know how to love yourself. And rather than you get the fucking therapy and sit the fuck down, drink your water, mind your business, and work on your own mental health and physical health, you rather knock back a bunch of hot fucking Cheetos, watch bitches, and envy them online that you see talking about some, oh my gosh, I want a relationship like that. Bitch, you could never go through the storm and weather it to get the goddamn relationship. You can't even be cool with Keisha after she told you to stop letting that nigga punch her in your fucking head. But now you're going to act like you can handle being in a whole damn marriage and weathering the storm with a man. You can weather the storm with a friend who had your back. Go to hell. And that's
And
all I
in
have to
that
say about
note,
you pick me's.
I was just about to say, and in that note, pick me's like,
Always a
do
bridesmaid,
better.
never a bride.
Just do better. That's it.
Do
I personally,
better.
I feel like you pick me's. You guys need to do it. You guys need to do better in your friendship zone, because that's where you will get a better situation and relationship in a man. Like, that's how men look at it. Why don't you have girlfriends? Like, what's wrong with you? Until why did you can't keep a girlfriend?
That's facts. That's the simplest thing to have is a friendship.
Yeah.
Because that's your
And I
first
hold
real
all my
relationship.
girlfriends accountable. And I say that. And I'm like, sometimes I take my friendships like more serious than I do my relationships, because this nigga is gonna leave me. Who am I gonna turn to when this nigga ups me, or when he decides I'm gonna go fuck some bitch or break her heart, or you know what I mean? And especially if you're my girl and you've been there for 5 years, if you have a genuine friend that's going to be real with you about what you're doing, what you're not doing, whether you like it or not, and she's going to tell you regardless, that's genuine. That's love. But if you have a friend that's going to sit down and she's going to tell you one story and then kiki behind your back or lie, like those, and those are mostly pick-me's, I'm not going to lie. Let's just do better. Do better, motherfuckers. Do better. And to your ministers and you pastors, motherfuckers out there, you're supposed to be doing God's work. Do it right, or don't do it at all.
They distracted.
Shame on you.
And there was something that my quote pastor of a father was told early in the game, and he became a pastor by another pastor, which in my opinion, I don't think he really had to worry about because he's so old, but that's probably because I see him as a parent, right? But he was told, keep your hands off of the 3 Gs. Keep your hands off of the gold. Keep your hands off the glory because you didn't do it. And keep your hands off the goddamn girls.
Keep your hands off the bitches.
Keep your hands off the bitches.
Keep them off the bitches. Keep them off the bitches. Keep them off the bitches.
You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I know this one
Thank you.
ran over. And we didn't even do like any like introductions or nothing. Like we went right into it because I got my theme song now.
That. Yeah, because we done did the thing.
I got the theme song now, so it's over. But I'm gonna talk about the part 2 of what was his name? What was his name in Dreamgirls? He was supposed to love me. So yeah, we'll do a part 2 of this. I feel like this one was heavier, so we'll do part 2 in a couple of weeks.
I'm excited.
I Thought You Loved Me. And maybe if Nikki comes on that one, she can bring us a I Thought You Loved Me story as well.
Listen, with my toxic ass, I have a few.
Listen. And shout out to the men that I dated. Not a lot of them, not a lot at all. But once I got divorced, shout out to the 2 that I dated that really didn't stand a chance. There was one man I tried to convince myself that I loved, and I had to keep remembering his name because he was so unimportant and he was so forgettable. And I'll never say that man's name out loud because we're cool, and I don't want him to feel any kind of way. But he was a good guy. He was a good dad, but it just wasn't there. So shout out to those guys that tried to love a broken bone. Y'all tried to heal a broken bone with stitches, but God, only he can do it.
You know, shout out to my first baby father for teaching me all the fuckery that he taught me on what to look for in an ain't shit nigga. Shout out to
That's facts. That's facts. And lastly, for any women out there that have that urge to go through your man's phone or do this or do that, and you're just trying to keep your relationship together,
don't do it.
2 things. 1, whatever is in the dark will come to light. I can promise you that. Oh, trust me. If you avoid it and you're trying to ignore it, it's going to come out to the light. But if you decide to be somebody that does go through phones, make sure when you find what you find, you do something about that shit. And we'll go into that later. I think that'll be another toxic episode of let that man cheat in peace. But if you're not going to do nothing about it, drink your water.
Stay out his phone.
Heal yourself.
Mind your business.
Up. That's facts.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, this is The Tea is Toxic. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you for being a part of it for so long with me. And let me know what you thought about the story. What would you have done differently if you were in my shoes? Would you have even seen yourself in my shoes? And please don't come on here capping, y'all. We done all did it. Trust me. Don't make me go through your archives and find your old best friends to tell your stories about the dick you were sucking in high school. So please, if you're going to give an opinion, make sure it's a solid, valid one. Not just, you stupid, because guess what? You stupid too. But this has been a really fun time. Thank you so much for spending time with me tonight, Nikki, because I know it's late. And we were able to knock one of these bitches out. So I really do appreciate you.
You know I love it over here.
Can you please plug everything that you need to plug? Where you got it?
Yes. I'm going to plug it real quick. You guys, follow Nikki June. We about to come out there, me and my co-host Bunny, next month. Actually, yeah, we're gonna start doing our own D2BN sex talk. Follow Dare to Be Naughty, where my sex game is, and I'm gonna have Miss AJ over here do a few cards on a 1-2 of her podcast, so you guys can have an idea of what Dare to Be Naughty is all about.
Awesome. I really do appreciate your time, Nikki. I appreciate all of y'all for listening. Thank you so much for taking the time to hear my story. And if you hated it and you don't like the sound of my voice, send this podcast to your enemies. That way I can still get some views and listens to. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to subscribe if you're on YouTube. You guys have a blessed rest of your week.
Stay
Bye.
toxic, guys. Bye.